Maybe. Here we are, we're all good. It wouldn't be a live stream from Best Practice if there weren't technical issues. Every single time we have an issue. So if you're somebody who's looking to listen to Best Practice, you're someone who's jumped online with us, welcome back to Best Practice TV. We're going to talk about business continuity plans. We're going to talk about working from home. We're going to talk about building culture remotely. I just want to say a massive thanks to everybody for being patient the last couple of minutes as we go live. We've got a few things happening here, and I'll go through sort of a bit of what's been happening in the behind the scenes of Best Practice over the last couple of weeks. If you haven't seen the vlog, Luke put the vlog up about 2 days ago on the YouTube channel, so you can see sort of what's been going on. But in this session, we're going to talk about business continuity plans. We're going to talk about working from home, and we're going to talk about building culture. And I want you guys to let me know. So let me know what I can do to help. I've got obviously LinkedIn Live running. I've got Vanessa helping me. She's working from home. I've got Luke here in the Black Lab boardroom, which is where we're working from at the moment. So if you've got comments and you're watching live on YouTube, I can see a bunch of people there on live on YouTube. Let me know where you're watching from. Thank you very much for hitting that like button. I appreciate that. But yeah, if you guys want to, in the comments there beside the video on YouTube, let me know where you're watching from. And I've got a dashboard here on my right-hand side. And then Luke is monitoring, obviously, the LinkedIn live stream. So let me know what your questions are. Say hi, give me a shout out, and let me know what's happening. So I'll just keep a half an eye on the YouTube dashboard. I've got that right there. Let's talk about business continuity plans. Last week, I think it was last week, we sent out a free business continuity plan template to everybody on our email subscribers list. So if you're not on our email subscribers list, go to bestpractice.biz, scroll down the page, hit the subscribe button on that, and you can sign up for anything that we're going to send out. You just drop your email address in and your name. And if you haven't got a copy of the business continuity plan template that was sent out, reach out to us, info@bestpractice.biz, and we can get you a copy of that straight away. Vanessa's monitoring the email inbox. We can get that to you straight away. Hey, David. Hey, Faith. Welcome. Good to have you guys on board. Good to have you guys watching. So use the comments there. Let me know where you're watching from, and then I can. That gives me a bit of a sense of where around the world you are and what's happening. Let me know what's happening. How are you guys going? Are you staying safe? How's your organisation? Are you busy? Are you quiet? Are you doing professional development? You know, if you are doing professional development like this, comment yes in the comments there. Just let me know that you're watching. If you're unable to comment, it helps to have a free Gmail account. So that'd be a good thing to do today. Set yourself up with a free Gmail account, and then subscribe to the Best Practice YouTube channel. So we sent out the Best Practice Business Continuity Plan template. We got some market feedback. You guys said, hey, we need some templates. Look, mostly a lot of templates are available online for free. And what we do is we basically look at the best of the best, consolidate it together, use our experience. We've got some highly skilled and highly trained business continuity plan specialists on our team. They do business coaching work around business continuity. They also do best practice assessments and audits around business continuity. So we used our collective wisdom in the team, and we brought together a really great template and sent that out. So I just wanted to talk about that. I was chatting to a friend of mine a couple of days ago who said, look, Kobe, you're a really great, consultant, management consultant, risk manager, auditor. He says, even you wouldn't have picked the global meltdown that's happened in the last few weeks. And I was like, yeah, I know, like from a business continuity plan perspective, it's just about nearly impossible to forecast something like this. And this is like a once in a lifetime event. So I don't want you guys to beat yourselves up that you didn't forecast this. And I just think that in the moment, when we start talking about business continuity, we can jump ahead and we can say, look, we need to think 12 months ahead. That's a really hard thing to do. We've got no idea where we're going to be in 12 months from now. I'm trying to listen to people that are doing forecasting. I'm listening to economists. I'm listening to bankers. I'm listening to leaders in politics. I'm listening to senior leaders in other big businesses. I'm listening to my dad. My dad is, he's in his 70s and he's been through a few different, global up and down trends. And I'm saying, give me, I asked him 3 weeks ago, give me a sense of what happened in the mid to late 80s, 1988, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92. And that was a real up and down in the global economy. And I said, can you see any similarities? Can you see any differences? And so I draw on those people with experience and then overlay the experience and the data that we've got now. So I personally listened to about a 30-minute press conference by the leader, or the governor, if you like, of the Australian Central Bank, Philip Lowe, this week, and that is a really great YouTube video to watch. If you search on YouTube RBA Philip Lowe and look, it's on the ABC News channel here in Australia. If you're watching from Australia, you can get that on YouTube anywhere in the world. It was a really great forecast around the Australian economy, but I think that's a good indicator for the rest of the world. One of the numbers that's really interesting to look at is that in Australia, where we are, there has been a 20% reduction in the amount of hours worked by the Australian workforce. That's the total amount of hours worked by every single worker in Australia, when you add it all up and look at the difference between February and March. They don't have April data yet. So just between February and March 2020, there was a 20% reduction in the total amount of hours worked. That's a really interesting statistic, because that means that there was a 20% reduction in the amount of money paid to the Australian workforce, which means that there's 20% less money in the Australian economy from a cash flow perspective. So from a business continuity perspective, there's two parts that I want you to be thinking about. There is the risks of a global pandemic like this, when we have to have a health control in our organisation. But then there's a second part to this from business continuity. So when you're talking about business continuity plans for your organisation, the event is not over. In fact, it's probably even more important to be thinking about the next 12 weeks as cash flowing through the supply chains in the economy starts to slow down even further. So that is something that I want you to be thinking about for your organisation. If the business continuity plan also needs to include, if your organisation lays off 10 to 15 to 20% of its people, then how are you going to continue to operate? And the business continuity plan starts to get on the front foot to think about that. And that is where it is really about having a conversation at the very highest levels in your organisation around, if we need to, start to think about laying off people, what are the key processes from our management systems that we need to continue to operate? What parts of the supply chain? So which customers, in theory, if you're laying off people, then there is customer revenue that is slowing down. Profitability in the business is going to zero or below zero. And that is really important, that businesses, there's been a fair bit of criticism of business in the last couple of months about the business needs to be profitable. The businesses cannot afford for long periods of time to make losses. They can, when we talk about negative, so a business needs to ensure that every transaction is at zero or above zero, or the month is at zero or above zero for the business to continue to survive. Because if a business is taking losses every month, it is slowly dying. And it is the balance sheet or the bank balance or the balance of assets, and if those assets can be liquidated, that lets a business make loss, and then lets a business make profit, then lets a business make loss. So it is very important for businesses to be reaching their profit objectives over the next couple of months and making changes into the costs that they are incurring to ensure that they stay alive. Now, like we prune a hedge, or we do some gardening, we might get out in the gardening and prune a tree or prune a hedge, businesses will need to be cropped back. And when you're thinking about business continuity, it's thinking about what are the customers that are definitely going to be there in the next 3 months and 6 months. And that is, probably the most important part of a business continuity plan for the next quarter, the next 2 quarters. I think you guys have all sort of, I don't want to sit here and advise people on what to do about health and hygiene in your organizations. There's enough free information out there in the internet. I'm thinking about the next 12 weeks and then the next 12 weeks after that. It's very important right now that your business continuity plan addresses customer communication, advanced front foot, regular, frequent customer communication to be getting a temperature check on your customers. So your sales team, your business development team, and your marketing team, it's very important for people to be involved in regular customer communication. I see some people watching the session here this morning. Stan Wall there, hello Stan, chatting to Stan yesterday. And this is a common thread through a lot of the conversations that I'm having with people, is stay on the front foot with your customers, because that's going to give you a sense now for your business continuity plan is, are you going to see further reductions in revenue, customers, orders, processing, production, services with your customers? Now, you might be able to make an arrangement with your customer and say, look, we're going to continue to serve you, but you can pay us later. You might extend terms for your customer. If you extend terms, if you say to your customer, usually your customer might pay you at 14 or 30 days. If you're going to extend terms to your customer, you might say, look, we will still do the work for you, but you can pay us at 60 days or you can pay us at 90 days. It's your balance sheet in the organization that allows you to do that. It's the savings, it's the assets of the organization that carry you through. So it's in my organization, it's my overdraft. So my overdraft, I can go into my overdraft to allow my customers to take longer to pay me. Cash flow slows down. We will have to be thinking about when do we speed that cash flow back up again, because there will be a point in time when you say to your customers, you need to bring your terms from 90 days back to 60 days, back to 30 days, back to 14 days. And I am seeing a lot of organizations using COD, or cash on delivery, or cash on supply, which is that when the service or the product is handed over, that's when the payment transaction happens, because they cannot afford the risk that your customer might have a mortality event and go under. So business continuity plans right now, it's very important to ensure that there is customer communication, that your sales and marketing team are involved in your business continuity plan, that you start thinking about what are the core supply assets, resources, training, information, data that you need in your organization to be ensuring you're looking for the potholes in the road or the potholes on the path of the next couple of weeks. So if you've got questions, please ask me. Hey Stan, hey Alexi, hey Faith, hey Betty. Let me know where you guys are watching from. I can't see the LinkedIn stream. Actually, I can. Luke's just given me a phone. Hey Helena. Oh, sorry, Helen. Hey Luke. Hey Trian. Miranda. Let me know where you guys are watching from. How many have we got there on LinkedIn? Can you see how many deals? Okay. So as we think more about our business continuity plans, we still need to maintain our safety protocols so people are working safely and we don't have accidents and incidents. We still need to ensure that we're meeting our environmental sustainability objectives. We still need to think about providing good quality customer service to our customers. So the usual things that we talk about. There is a very important thing that's worth considering right now more than ever, which is cybersecurity. Zoom as a platform, the free version of Zoom as a platform is not secure. If you are having confidential conversations in your business, if you're talking about how to run your business, I want you to be aware that, yeah, it's great that it's free and it's great that you can use it, but it is not secure. There's no guarantees that it's a secure platform, and I want you to be aware of that. So cybersecurity now more than ever is important. Phishing emails, we just had an alert. 2 minutes before I started this live stream, Kelly John Woods in our office sent out an email to everybody saying that there has been a phishing email sent by one of our customers to all of his email addresses. A few of us happen to be on that. And the message was, do not click on that email. Do not open that email. So right now, more than ever, I want you to be aware that people could portray themselves as the CEO, the business leader. So finance managers and people in accounts and money type roles in the organization, or procurement and purchasing type roles, ensure that they're in your business continuity plan. Because now is the perfect time for somebody to present themselves via email, pretend that they are me, and send our finance manager emails asking to have invoices paid. So I think now more than ever, it's very important to be checking your suppliers. And if you're making financial transactions to your suppliers over $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, money that you can't afford to risk right now, right across your supply chain, I think it would be important to be considering a phone call to the accounts receivable person at your supplier, at your customer, to validate the banking details on any invoices. because now is the perfect time for hackers to hack financial systems and get in and change your bank details, so when you send out your invoices automatically, that they could change the bank details so all your customers pay money to a hacker, for example. And that is a real threat, that is a real situation, real circumstance that I have seen happen. So business continuity plan is important to think about safety, think about your customers, think about your people, and think what could go wrong in the next 12 weeks. And accidents that we could have had in the past, we can still have. Environmental incidents, we can still have. Customer complaints, we can still have. So it is important to be considering those things. You can't forecast these global meltdowns. It's a once-in-a-lifetime situation. But as your resources maybe get constrained and your organization contracts in size and things get limited, just be aware that people can cut corners. Cutting corners could make mistakes, and those mistakes can cause issues that need to be addressed in the risk lines of your business continuity plan. Okay, if you have got questions, hey Eugene, thanks for watching from here in Sydney. So yeah, guys, let me know where you're watching from. If anybody needs to see this, after this live stream has finished on YouTube and on LinkedIn, you can share both those links. So anybody that you would like to hear my messages today or think about or consider the things I'm talking about, both these videos on LinkedIn and YouTube, you can copy those links, the URL, and you can email those out to people so that they can watch this live stream after the event. Okay, so that's the business continuity plan template. If you haven't got a copy of it, please email info@bestpractice.biz and we can get a copy of that free template out to you guys. The other thing I'd suggest is otherwise alternatively comment on either of the videos, and Vanessa can get your details and get you a copy of that. Okay, the next document that we sent out for free, or the template or guideline that we sent out for free, was a working from home guideline. Look, I'll apologize for not putting lots of pictures in it and little images. We did it very quickly, which was to assemble a document for you guys to look at two perspectives of working from home. There's something that I want you all to be aware of, that employers are becoming increasingly concerned about productivity and monitoring productivity of people working from home. That is a global conversation that is trending on Google. We're looking regularly at the Google Trends. So if you are somebody that's working from home, I want you to be aware that you may need to communicate more. Like, you may be working very hard and working a lot, but the transparency of being able to see how much people are working and see what's going on is becoming an issue, and it's a global leadership conversation right now. So, you know, the reality is there's still a fair bit of mistrust, and big offices of people, you can see what people are doing, you can see if people are at work. If you're a supervisor, you can see what your team are doing, you can see what other people are doing. And so the working humanity right now is worried that people aren't working. And there's lots of people, two schools of thought. There's a lot of leaders out there that don't like people working from home, and that's why they have big offices. They like to micromanage people. And there's obviously lots of people out there that don't care. Like myself, I'm enjoying the fact that everybody's getting on with it. We're getting the jobs done. I'm not seeing any significant problems occurring right just yet, but I do know that there are also some people in our teams who prefer to work from an office. So there's two things. There's leaders who prefer people work in an office and or don't care. And then from an employment perspective, there's also a bunch of people that prefer to work from home or prefer to work in an office. I personally prefer to work from home. So I've been very productive the last couple of days, more than ever, and quite enjoying working from home myself. It means I don't have to travel. It means each of my meetings have like a 1-minute gap because I'm just moving through virtual meetings on my laptop with Zoom or Google Hangouts or Skype or FaceTime. So for me, it's been quite efficient, but there's definitely a good percentage, probably 30% of the people that work at Best Practice, who would prefer the human interaction and the working from an office environment. So I'll touch on culture, but something we've organised two things in the last couple of weeks. The first thing we organised was Zoom drinks. So we sent out a $25 voucher to everybody in our team, a little e-voucher, so that they could go to their local store and buy their favourite drink and their favourite snack, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, and we had Zoom drinks. That was quite good. We had 25 people join us for Zoom drinks, and that was just a 4 o'clock one afternoon where everybody sort of sat and had a chat. We set up the screen so you could see everybody's faces like the Brady Bunch, and it was really good. It was really effective. It was a really great team bonding experience. You could do a morning tea, you could do those sorts of things. So the working from home guideline we sent out was really simple guideline. We can get you a copy of that if you haven't got a copy of it, if you're not on our email list. It was two perspectives, from an employer's perspective and an employee's perspective. Trying to make working from home a good experience for both parties, something that's productive, that has fair exchange, and makes the working from home experience good. Something that I've seen with our team be very effective is we have a live stream that's running every day, and people can go in and out of that live stream. It's like a virtual office, and they can go in and see who's watching and see what's happening. And that sits in everybody's calendar every day. We're a Google office. We go into our Google calendar, we click the live stream, we view the meeting room, and we can see who's in that meeting room, like a chat room, if you like, with video cameras at all times. So something to consider in terms of how to get some bonding happening with your team. And it also helps with, seeing productivity levels with people. So if you haven't got a copy of that guideline, I suggest you get a copy and have a think about some of the principles. You can manipulate it, copy it, paste it, change it, edit it to suit your organization, or take some of our principles and embed them in your organization. And I'd also be looking for some suggestions. If you've got suggestions on how we can improve those, I'm more than happy to get our team to update them. I'll do second editions of those documents and get those back out to you guys. So just want you to be, I think the key word here for everybody with the working from home thing right now is empathy. Here in Australia, they're forecasting that we will continue, certainly for at least another 4 to 6 weeks, with this style of model. And I want everybody to be aware that we won't be going back to how it was. Humanity now is going to be conscious of the threat of virus at all times going forward, and what these viruses might look like, and what these times of health scares. Something of this global scale has happened before. We had the Black Plague, we had SARS. There are massive malarial outbreaks in Africa right now. In Africa right now is one of the largest malarial outbreaks that there's ever been in the history of humanity. So there are, transferable disease pandemics that go on from time to time, but this is probably the first time in the modern world that it's hit humanity. And people are going to be consciously aware of that. So I want you to be thinking about that going forward, that there will be businesses that completely rethink how they run their organizations, how much is remote, how much is in an office. We moved out of our office 4 weeks ago. The final day of our formal lease contract is tomorrow. The office has been empty for 2 weeks. There's no furniture, it's packed up. We're getting the carpets cleaned, and we don't have a permanent home for our business right now. We are all remotely. We are in the process of moving into this location at this address, but we haven't got anything formal yet, because over the next 4 weeks, contractors are hard to get or busy, and there's COVID-19 stuff happening. So we can't move on a full-scale office fit out for best practice and find ourselves a home. But it was part of reducing cost. I felt that if I cut the cost of the office, it was better than cutting costs to our people. So from a leadership perspective, I cut all those costs first before we started looking at asking people to take pay cuts. So as you're thinking about that, I want you to think about that. Now, I won't go and have a massive fancy office probably ever again in my career. So it's, we'll have an office and it'll be nice and it'll be a great place to work, but the size that we had, we're definitely going to be a lot smaller than that in the future. So I want you to think about that. So working remotely and working from home is going to be a big part of modern business for the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. And, Luke here in the studio or in the boardroom with me right now, he is, this is his working experience. This is his first job, and it's his first experience, and he's coming into this. So those of us that have been around for 20, 30 years with working careers, we've seen different working styles, and we've seen, I remember a time when we didn't have email. So I want you to be thinking about that going forward. And from a business continuity plan and working from home perspective, how do you make that a good thing? Okay, I've got some questions coming in. So if you have got questions, Mike Scotland, I'll answer your question in a second. So I want you to think about that. Now, there's obviously other components like ergonomics. Ergonomics is a key thing. It's always an issue. A lot of people working on laptops with their neck bent over and working on a keyboard, we still want to make sure that we're not getting turtleneck from an ergonomics perspective. So it is important to be looking at your work setups of your people to ensure, the law here in Australia still says that employer needs to provide a safe place of work. So it might be time to start looking at the working setups of your people. And if they're sitting at the kitchen table or at a dining room table, and they're leaning over a laptop, it might be time for people to look at laptop stands and also start to look at second screens, keyboards and mice, and also the chairs that people are sitting in. So, or standing up, for example, stand up or sit down. Look, I've seen on Amazon and on eBay lots of different opportunities for laptop stands, for standing desks, those types of things. So it is important from an employer's perspective to have a look at your employees' experience and ensure that they're in a good chair, they've got good ergonomics, and you're looking after them from that perspective. That's fantastic, Eugene. That's a best practice right now. Eugene is just commenting that people are doing Zoom ergonomics assessments. That's the right thing to be doing. Right now my laptop is sitting on a basket and 2 cardboard boxes to lift it to the right level so that the camera and what I'm doing from my laptop's perspective is at the right level. So yeah, that's exactly the right thing to be doing. Look, it's about making the best use of what you've got right now without going and buying really expensive, fancy equipment. But it is something that certainly the organisation that I'm in here right now, if you are a larger organisation and if you would like to investigate laptop stands that are adjustable, we can custom make any of that equipment here at a fairly reasonable price in this Black Lab design factory. So if you want to reach out to me and just have a conversation about how you can help your people with a really basic laptop stand that's adjustable or an adjustable desk, we can manufacture that here on site here in Australia. Okay, Mike Scotland asked a question about Zoom. My comments regarding Zoom is the free version is not secure. So the first thing that I recommend is that all of those products, the paid versions, are more secure, and you can start to change and manage those security settings. We personally use Google Hangouts or Google Meet, and we have all of our security settings locked down. You cannot enter one of the Google Hangouts of a paid version of Google. You just can't access it because we turn all the settings down. You have to be invited into that room, then you have to ask to come in, and then you have to be admitted by one of the people. So what has become a game on the internet is Zoom knock and run, which is basically people are taking Zoom meeting IDs, changing a few letters and seeing if there's something happening. And there's lots of people doing that. And you may see someone come and go from a Zoom meeting. If that happens to you, let me know. But there are a lot of kids out there just playing with Zoom and changing the URL in your address bar. You can change, if you're in the free version of Zoom, you can change that and you can come and go. So if someone's got the meeting ID and there's no password, they can go straight into some of those Zoom meetings. So I just want you to be aware of that. So my first recommendation would be I definitely think the paid version of Zoom is one of the better products on the market. I just want you to be aware that free is not free. And so it is important, if you're making a commercial business decision, to start to experiment with those platforms, to pay for a couple of users and experiment. And it is definitely something that you need to be considering so that you can adjust the security settings so that your privacy is being protected, your organizational privacy is being protected. Also be aware that a lot of those platforms, you can record those meetings. So for your own benefit, be aware that you could be being recorded by other members of the meeting. Now that's a good thing. Like, we do lots of recording here at Best Practice, but Google Hangouts, we record some of our meetings because they become our meeting minutes. Zoom meetings, we sometimes record those because we use them for social media. I'm going to be doing some of those meetings today where we will be recording those sessions. So it is something that I want you to be aware of, that meetings can be recorded. They can obviously be hacked very easily. So you want to make sure that you're considering the security settings of any of those online meeting platforms. Skype has just done a huge update this week. I think Skype is worth going and having a look at again. But also, I think for those of you using Apple devices, FaceTime is something FaceTime has sort of dropped off the radar for a lot of people, but it's a very good product. FaceTime is an excellent product, and it's something that people with Apple devices can use fairly seamlessly. So don't forget FaceTime. So you've got, at the moment, the ones I use, Skype, FaceTime, Meet, and Zoom. And I use those 4 platforms. Internally, we use Google Meet, we use the Google Chat, Google Meet, and the Google Calendar. And it's fairly easy to set up, and it's something that I consider. So they've all got their features and benefits. We have been asked to do a review. And so we were discussing with the marketing team yesterday that we might actually do some meetings and record them, and people can talk about what they like and don't like about the platforms. So they're my comments on, okay, so Melissa, hello. Melissa Knudsen, I'll quickly answer your question. You get asked lots about the costs incurred from working from home. There's a couple of things. The costs incurred in working from home can be considered in a couple of things. The first is, in most countries around the world, costs incurred in earning an income are tax deductible. And so anybody right now that is incurring extra costs, and I can specifically talk about Australia right now, if you were incurring extra costs working from home right now, or they're asked like electricity, telephone, lighting, furniture, in Australia, certainly they are all tax deductible. So keep your receipts or estimate your costs. And when you come to doing your tax return, you will get the tax that you have paid on that money back. So if you had to earn $20 and you paid $10 in tax and you had $10 left over, and then you spend that $10 on a desk for your home office, you will put in a tax claim, if you like, and the $10 of tax that you paid, you will get back. You won't get the money for your desk back, you'll get the tax that you paid. So if you paid $10 tax, or if you paid $6 tax, or if you paid $4 tax, you will get that tax back. So in money spent or money costs incurred in earning an income are tax deductible, and so you will get the tax on that money back. So all of you guys that are earning a salary, say you're earning $100, your employer is keeping some of your money and then giving that to the tax office and then giving you the rest. And so when you spend the money that you've been given, you'll get some of that tax back from the tax office in your tax return. So, sorry, I apologize, my phone is buzzing. So, okay, so that's hopefully, Melissa, that answers your question. I think it's very important for people to, if you are working from home and you are an employee, keep a big long list of all of your expenses and then ask a tax professional for your advice. Things like your rent, if you're working from home and you're renting, you can claim a component of your rent against your tax, so you will get some more tax back. So be aware that your rent, your electricity, a percentage of it, and potentially you sleep at your house and then you go to your office, but now you're sleeping at your house and working in your house, that in theory, if that was half, if you're usually out of your house for half, then you can claim half of all of your expenses. So it is important to be thinking about that you will get a tax, you'll get a check back. In Australia, you'll get some money back from the tax office. Okay, if you've got questions, please comment. Let me know where you're watching from on the YouTube stream or on the LinkedIn stream. Please let me know. Okay, let me have a quick look. Any other questions? New Zealand, lots of people in Sydney, Brisbane, people in the US. I apologize for the people in the US sometimes. I apologize for the people in South Africa. I was asked by some people in South Africa this week to maybe change the times of our live streams because it's the middle of the morning, very early morning for them. So early morning. So we'll look at that. Okay, let me talk about culture. So we've talked about business continuity. We've talked about working from home. Let's talk about culture. Culture is a challenge right now. How do we keep people engaged? How do we keep people maintained? And I think communication is probably the most important thing to stay on the front foot. There will be a chink in your cultural armor right now. I had a phone call from a close work associate yesterday, very concerned about his future, a little bit of anxiety, somebody who is always on the front foot from a communication perspective. And I just transparently went through everything with him. And after that conversation, he felt much better. It was just there was a 10-minute time slot booked in my calendar. And I think it is important as a leader to be talking to your people and asking them. There's 3 questions, really simple questions. One of my favorite books right now is The Coaching Habit. The Coaching Habit. Maybe someone can post a link to The Coaching Habit from my team, Alexi or Vanessa. If you could find The Coaching Habit on Amazon or on eBay and post that link in the comments for me on LinkedIn and YouTube, that would be great. The Coaching Habit. There's lots of questions, but 3 great questions. When you're speaking to your team members, opening question, what's on your mind? What are you thinking about right now? Let them talk. And the talk therapy is really good, and it's part of that communication. You don't need to go in and say, hey, here's all the stuff I want to talk about. Just say, hey, what's on your mind? Once they're finished talking, then the next question is, and what else? And they can keep talking. They can maybe share some other things that they're thinking about. And then the third question, and what else? And it's just a really great conversation to let them get a few things off their chest that they might be thinking about, that are on their mind. Maybe they haven't been able to talk about them at home. You have to remember, as a leader, you're a professional communicator. You're the cultural representative for the organization. So I think just those three basic questions, that's the first part of the coaching habit. Vanessa has just posted a link on Amazon to the coaching habit in the YouTube comments. So if you want to see that book, it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. It'll be the best $30 that you've ever spent as a leader. It's a great coaching tool. It's something that I want to practice more. I want to do more of that to be a better leader with you guys that I'm working with our videos and also our team. I know I have a long way to go as a leader. And I know that I'm not there yet. I'm not where I want to be. Stan, I get it. The kitchen table is hard, particularly when the kids are around. So the coaching habit is an excellent tool. It's an excellent way to just be scheduling 5-minute conversation. Culturally from us, I haven't been able to do it because I've been very busy, but going into that live meeting room every day, just waving. If I'm just doing some reading or I'm sitting in my home office and I'm not in meetings, then I can jump in there and people can just see my face and see what's happening and see where I am and see what I'm doing. So it is something to be considering. Can you do that? Can you have a big sort of company, 2 or 3 times a week for 10 minutes, a morning tea even? Maybe sending out a recipe for a cake that people could experiment cooking. So everyone can have the same sort of cake for morning tea or the same drink for morning tea or a morning tea for 10 minutes where everyone just has a cup of tea or a drink, stops for 5 minutes and maybe the CEO or the leader just gives the update from the last 48 hours. What are they working on? What are the focus points? What are the priorities for the organization going forward? Those regular updates I think are important. On Monday next week, we have an all hands meeting, which is our monthly meeting for our team. We're going to do that all virtually. Everybody will be spending a couple of hours together getting updates from around the business. We used to do it, with the Melbourne office, the Sydney office, and the Brisbane office. Now we'll just do it in that virtual meeting room. So I want you to think about doing that sort of stuff. So to quickly talk about culturally, and I'm open to suggestions. I want to try more things. We talked about our Zoom drinks that we did with our team. Tomorrow morning, for the local people that are near where our office used to be, I've organised to go for a 9-kilometre walk with everybody. So at 7:30 tomorrow morning, our team's going to meet. There's about 6 of us. We're going to socially distance, and we're just going to go for a walk, and we're going to have a chat and catch up, and then we'll all get on with the rest of our day. So it's a hiking trail. We're going on a hiking trail for about an hour and a half, and then our company meeting is next Monday. So it's something that I want you to consider. Not everybody can be included in that because they work all over the country. But maybe everybody could be encouraged at 7:30 tomorrow to go for a walk. And in fact, I've just had that idea. I'm going to communicate that to everybody tomorrow at 7:30. Go out for a walk, and we can be all walking at the same time. And everyone can post a photo of their walk in our private secret Facebook group. We have a Facebook group with all of our team members. Maybe everyone can post a photo. So I'll get that organised. Vanessa and the team can help me get that organised. So everyone goes for a walk tomorrow at 7:30. And we can have a bit of a mobile team building activity where everyone's independently walking, but everybody knows that everybody's walking at the same time, getting out of the house, getting out and doing stuff. So from a cultural perspective, start to think about what are your values? What are the values that have been documented for the organisation? The values here are best practice, friendly, empowering, progressive, strong work ethic, doing the right thing and working shoulder to shoulder with our clients. Those are the values that we talk about at best practice, and it's still important. Even now we're working from home, don't drop the ball on those things. You are still a great organisation. You still do great things for your customers, and it's a good opportunity to be really, thinking forward. Okay, I love giving you guys techniques. I've got one final technique for you from a cultural perspective, and this is a very important one. A good exercise for your whole team, which is a cultural building exercise, is to ask people what are 4 or 5 things that they love about their job. Writing a list. Now it will have them thinking optimistically and thinking about the future. What are the 5 things you love about your job? What are the 5 things you love about the organisation? What are the 5 things you love about working? It's the key words, love, and it's about the organisation. And it's asking the subconscious, of all of your team members to elevate and think positively about the organization and think positively about the future. And that is a big part of helping your team members and your organization to be happy and positive going forward. It's a fantastic technique. It's not the right question. Right now is not the right time to be asking people, what can we improve? Because it makes people think negatively. They're thinking, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, and it will make people feel negative, and people will dwell on those things that they want improved. Now is the time to be asking people, what do you like about the organization? What do you like about your job? What do you like about working? Because it's more important now to be uplifting people, to give them, positively uplifting experiences, than actually encouraging people to think about, well, this could be improved or that could be improved, because it will help them to be negative. So I want you to practice that technique. It's really important. It's a very important structural foundational piece for managing culture and the morale in your remote workforce. And it's a great way to maybe send out a survey. If you just send an email to people and they just read the email, that will be enough to have a small little uplift in the morale of your remote team. Even if they don't respond, you will have an uplift because they will read it and their subconscious will be asked those questions, and they won't be able to help themselves but to subconsciously answer those questions. So you can do that with an all-company email really simply. 5 questions. What are 5 things you love about your organization? What are 5 things you love about your job? What are 5 things you love about working? And it will ask all of the team members in your organization, it'll be triggering their subconscious to think positively about that. So if you think that's helpful, let me know. It's a great little hack that I've been using for a while now, particularly on myself. If I'm feeling down, then it's, we can call it gratitude if you like, but I think it's just a really good, simple technique for you to be doing with your team members in your organization to just give everybody a little uplift in culture. Hey, Barbara, my local teammates and I have been meeting every day at 5:30 to walk 3 to 4 miles a day. It's a nice stress relief, and we catch up even though we walk six feet apart. Barbara, that is absolutely fantastic. That is best practice, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing. We've got our team all over the country, but we're going to start doing that. On Monday, I did a 13.5 kilometre walk. I don't know what that is in miles. It's probably a little bit longer. It's probably 6 or 7 miles, maybe. I think it's about double. And then yesterday, I did a 9 kilometre walk. I haven't walked yet today, but I'll get out and do that. And it's absolutely clearing my head. So I did a walking meeting with somebody yesterday for an hour and a half, which was fantastic. Okay, I don't want to take too much of your time. I really appreciate everybody's involvement. Let me know if this was helpful. What was your favourite part? If you could comment on the stream, let me know what was your favourite part. What do you want me to talk about? Now, I have got a couple of requests of people. I just want to let you know about a couple of things that are happening. I'm doing 2 things. If you want to get a shout out and you want to do some social media, I'm doing some recorded Zoom meetings, one-on-one for 15, 20, 30 minutes with people. If you want to get a shout out on our social media, we're going to start editing some of those videos and posting them over the next couple of days. So you can see the one-on-one conversations I'm having with people to help them. So some of those are coming up. So Stan, if you want to shout out on our social media, hit up Caitlin. So Caitlin Gunning is managing my calendar. She'll put a meeting request in. We record the video, we'll edit it, put it out on social media, and you'll hear the kind of advice that I'm giving to people one-on-one. So if you would like some of that one-on-one advice, please reach out. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm also doing some private coaching sessions for 30 minutes. They're free. It's not a sale. It's just to help people. So I've got 3 or 4 of those set for today. I've got 2 for tomorrow. I've got more next week. That's involving Next Practice. Nick Fagan, the director of Next Practice. We're going through the COVID-19 bounce. So if your organization is really struggling, or your organization is growing, or your organization is struggling to cope with demand, this organization here that I'm in right now is growing very quickly. They're doing lots of work. They're very busy doing what they do for their customers. So I'm doing COVID-19 coaching sessions with Nick Fagan and myself, and we're using the principles of some of these books, specifically this book, Scaling Up, which I would recommend you get yourself a copy of. So if Vanessa, if you could post the link to that on eBay or Amazon. There's lots of copies of this in my boxes in storage. We're coaching people on the principles, the Rockefeller habits, and we're taking people in those coaching sessions through the 4Ds. So if you would like a private coaching session for free, we're going to go through the 4Ds here, which is just stand by, I'll tell you where it is. just to quickly talk about drivers, demands, disciplines, and decisions, just to help people with the COVID-19 bounce. So in terms of actually getting back to business, what does the future look like, mapping those things out. We talk about coaching, what coaching you need, what learning you need, what technology you need, what demands you've got, and getting balance from people and process. We talk about disciplines with priorities, data, and meeting rhythms. We talk about decisions. What decisions do we need to make? What are the right questions to ask? For people to have happiness and accountability, for strategy to have revenue and growth, for execution to have profit and time, and for cash, the oxygen and the options. So if you want some of those sessions, I'm offering those up because I've got time. I'm not driving and traveling. I'm not commuting right now, so I have spare time in my calendar, and that spare time I've got, I'm giving to you guys. So if you want to do some social media stuff and have some fun, we're going to be editing up those videos, and you'll get a showcase on the Best Practice YouTube channel or on my LinkedIn. And then obviously, but if you want to have a very private conversation because you're not sure what to do and you're feeling a bit lost, then reach out to us, and Nick and I can have that conversation with you, just give you some tips and tricks and some direction forward for the next quarter to help you guys. Vanessa's posted the link to scaling up there. That's in the YouTube comments. So thanks, Vanessa. Okay, one last thing is Wednesday next week. Let me tell you the date of that. That will be at the 29th of April. I'm doing a business-to-business marketing strategy for anybody who is doing tendering or is in a business-to-business, business-to-government type arrangement in your organization. We have a very special session next Wednesday on the 29th of April where I have a guest speaker, Michael Haynes, coming in, and we're going to be doing a very dedicated Q&A exercise on how you can be growing your business, helping your customers, helping your funding bodies, helping your marketplace. So it's even if you're in business to consumer, market space, so B2C or B2B, and Michael Haynes is going to be joining me for a really exciting session. So we're planning that. So I'll stand by for that. That'll be on the 29th. I'll try to go live for you guys in a couple of days' time again. So questions. I've got time for questions. How am I going for time? I've got 8 minutes. So if you guys have got any specific questions, I'm here for you right now. So if you guys let me know what's happening on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So if you've got questions, the YouTube chat there, I can see that. I'm more than happy to help anybody. I can cover anything. Ask me anything. How are you going, Luke? While I'm waiting for questions, be selfish. Now's the time. I'm right here. Happy to, if you're feeling nervous and you don't want to ask the question publicly, send me a direct message on LinkedIn. That's the best way. If you've got you don't want to put yourself out there, that's okay. No problems. But if you have got questions, if there's anything I can help with. The team did a survey this week. Is there any other templates or documents we could quickly whip up that we can put out to you guys? We're going to be sending out a staff manual template that you guys can use. We're taking the best practice staff manual, which I think is fantastic. We're just going to customize that a little bit to be a bit more generic, and then we're going to send that out. So watch the email. Make sure you're on the email list and look out for that email in the next 24 hours. We'll get that out to everybody. Any comments? No questions on LinkedIn, no questions on YouTube. If this was helpful, let me know. If it was great, hit the like button. I really appreciate the like, hitting like. Hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the Best Practice YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications. There's a little bell next to the subscribe button. Hit the bell, then the notifications will come up. When I go live on YouTube, it'll come up as a notification in your system. Big thank you to Luke, Vanessa, and Alexi for joining me in the stream and helping me this morning. Everybody's working remotely. And also for Caitlin for managing my calendar and doing the great stuff. So if you want to get 5 or 10 minutes of time with me, reach out to Caitlin via the message system and I can have a quick chat. So thanks, everybody. That's it for us. My name's Kobe Simmet. I'm the CEO here at Best Practice, and we've been having a great time, even though it's been absolute chaos. I've learned a lot from this experience, and I can't complain because we've been doing some great stuff. Hey, Ava. Excellent. Ava, anytime you want to reach out, if you're on the Northern Beaches, right now I'm in French's Forest, we can catch up. So we'll be doing, Ava, 7:30 tomorrow. We're walking around Narrabeen Lake. We're meeting at the tram shed at 7:30. Barbara, you're very welcome. No problems at all. Miranda. Okay, so Miranda's got a question. Let me just quickly look at that. Miranda, Look, that's a tricky question in terms of how employers are going to. So Miranda asked a question about health and safety and how employers will be held accountable if accidents happen at home. I think it's going to be challenging times. The legislation is not written to deal with that. But at a very high level in Australia, I'm speaking from an Australian perspective, employers shall provide a safe place of work or a safe system of work. And so I think it's important to be having declarations that, say for example, somebody is working from home, but then they go and change a light bulb and fall off a ladder. They were working from home, but the employee, took it upon themselves. Actually, I'm going to stop for 5 minutes and do some maintenance on my house. Most accidents that happen from home are DIY construction projects or maintenance. They're most of the household accidents. And so there might need to be a declaration that, people sign up that they won't do house maintenance or home maintenance while they're signed on, while they're on the clock. So it is important. I think those are going to be the things. But an accident, someone who's working from home, sitting at a desk, the types of hazards I think are more stress related and also ergonomics related. Because unless you're asking someone to physically do something at home, I think when they investigate the accident, then it's not going to be related to sitting at a desk. So the types of hazards that I think are foreseeable and reasonable in workplaces are ergonomics and obviously psychological stress. And that's why I'm talking today about culture. So I think that's an important thing to be considering, is how are you monitoring the morale and stress levels of your people, and how are you monitoring the ergonomics of your people that are working from home. I think those are the two reasonable hazards, and I think that the regulators around the world from a health and safety perspective, I think will take that into consideration. Fun fact, apparently in India, because there's been no travel and everybody's been in lockdown, you can now see the Himalayas because the air pollution has stopped. So I think, some of the positive sides to this situation right now, I know it's been a horrible situation for a lot of people, but just think about the reduction in pollution globally from the lack of cars on the road. I watched the oil price drop to negative $39 a barrel earlier this week. And I think that's symptomatic of people, not traveling. And I know it's sad that lots of people aren't earning an income, but just think about how much pollution we create earning an income and how good it is for the planet and how healthy it is. And look, all of this social distancing because of COVID-19 also means that you're not sharing influenza around your offices. So I think that potentially you've got a chance to get through winter without actually getting a cold or flu, because you're not mixing with people, catching public transport. So some of the positive things that I'm thinking about, which is excellent, getting the opportunity to get out for a walk and do exercise. So there's some of the positive things I'm thinking about. I'm trying not to be delusionally positive, which I usually am. I'm just trying to be realist right now, but I am pretty happy with the opportunity to work from home myself. And it is sad, the financial things that are happening, but look, most of us are still alive. We look after the people that are around us, care about our families, look out for our workmates and our work friends and our work colleagues. And I think we can all get through this together and just be positive and happy about the fact that we've got an opportunity to continue. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm happy to take questions on private message on LinkedIn. So just search for me on LinkedIn at Kobe Simat. Maybe Vanessa, if you could post a link to my LinkedIn handle again there in the comments on YouTube, people can click on that. Please, if you're not already connected and following me on LinkedIn, please go over to my profile, hit the follow button, and just make sure if you're seeing posts from me on LinkedIn, hit the like button so I know you're watching. If you've got comments or if you've got questions, please comment on those posts and let me know what's going on. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'm going to wrap it up here unless there's any other questions. There we go. Vanessa's posted the link on the YouTube comments for me, so you can hit that button. Go and follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. If you need an email address to connect with me, if it says enter email address, it's kobe@simat.com.au. First name at lastname.com.au. So go and give me a follow and a like, and I will see you all next time on Best Practice TV. Thank you, Luke, for your assistance. That's a wrap.